I want to offer you ways of, like realistic and relatively simple thought offerings that can cascade into bigger changes. I'm personally not a big fan of trying to uproot your life because I'm just a random person on the internet. I don't really know your life. And most of the times, significant like uprootings of life, you don't really need to have that, right? And so the offering I want to present to you today is a lot of things go into your mind and you have a lot of feelings, right? And now I want to give you just one simple metric of if this if this feeling that I'm having is something that is actually worthy of exploration of my like deeper contemplations, or if it's just a habitual like a urge, that's just formed reinforced so many times and it just lost its value, but it just keeps like an echo in your brain. And the really easy way to kind of determine this is, can this thought ever stop? And one example, I'm never enough, right? So this is a thought that many people have. But now, if that thought were true, there has to be some kind of a metric that you are comparing yourself against, right? And therefore, you are not enough. Like semantically speaking, enough means you're not enough means that there isn't enough and you are not there. Which means at some point, at some like level of life, there has to be an enough because you're declaring that there isn't enough and you're not it. But the truth of the matter is, that thought needs no basis. There's nothing stopping the president of the United States from thinking that he's not enough. There's nothing from a village farmer in Cambodia from thinking that his life is not enough. Like, if no matter what you do, that thought is always valid, chances are that thought is just a habitual thought that just repeats like an echo. Now, suppose my monetary goal is to make $2 million next year, and it's end of 2024, and now I am thinking, oh, I came short in 2024, and I haven't made enough money in 2024 because I set out a financial plan for $2 million. By the way, not realistic at this stage in my business, but I'm at like 1.4 million, so I have like zero point 0.6 million to make, right? Therefore, if I actually make it, then I don't think that, right? So if there is that metric, then good. You have something to work for. It's either a skill gap or like more, communications need to be made. There's a strategy and there's a, direction you can take your life in because it has a certain criteria. But if I don't have that 2 million goal and I'm just not enough, I can make $10 million and I can still declare this is not enough, right? And so I'm never truly loved. Like, this is something that a lot of married people or people in relationships think, right? Like, he doesn't really love me. She doesn't really love me. Now, you could be married for 30 years and think, my wife doesn't really love me. You could have two very wild kids and you could co-parent them together, go through all the struggles of life together as a married couple, and yet there's nothing stopping you from thinking my spouse doesn't really love me that much, because that thought is like always true in some perspective. So if there is no defined perspective and then that thought just lingers, then it might just be a thought echo that just exists like a sound. It's just like a wave. It's just like a leaf falling from the sky. It's just like a squirrel crossing the street. And it may not require that much of your attention and focus.